Welcome to T&E Inspires On the Edge with Edith, where we talk to people in the beauty and the fashion industry to help you and encourage you to live life on the edge. In today's episode, we talked to Ana Vergara of Classic Glamour Dolls, where we talked to her about some things that you are not going to see on any other interviews. Honestly, you guys, we went real deep today. So you're going to hear questions that you are not going to hear in any other interview. We're going to talk about how she's made it through some difficult times, how she started her business, who encourages her, and some advice on your morning routine.
Hey guys, Ana Vergara here. Can't wait for you guys to check out my cosmetic line. You guys go ahead and check it out on Glamour Queens on Instagram. For now, we're going to go ahead and have a soft launch. You guys are going to die. You guys are going to love it. Can't say too much. We're going to have a soft launch coming soon. Can't wait for you guys to check out my interview for more info.
Stay tuned and watch this episode because you're not going to want to miss it. All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Ana, for being here. It's a pleasure. Now, for any of you who don't know who she is, Ana is multi-talented. She is a TV radio talk show host, owner of Classic Glamour Dolls, and if you don't know what that is, she does retro hair and makeup. So she's amazing. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, great.
We're reunited.
We are reunited.
And it feels so good.
It does. Now, I met Ana. So I've been following you on social media for 5 years, over 5 years.
We go way back.
Yeah, we go way back. And you've actually interviewed me in the past before. So now we're switching roles. Okay.
I did.
Yes. And, well, let's see. I know that you started your business when you were 17 years old.
Yes, I did.
But you know what? I've always been curious to know, how did you get started doing retro makeup and hair?
How I started? Actually, I always did hair and makeup, right? It was always like, I was young. I was probably 16 at the time.
Okay.
I started officially at 17, but 16, you do it to family and friends. For those little dances at school, right?
Yeah.
For your friends and family. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of weird how when you're young, you start thinking already business. Because I started thinking, well, what's going to really attract? Everybody does hair and makeup.
Yeah.
Because even back in the day, MySpace, it was all about MySpace, right? So I was thinking, what can really grasp people's attention? And I thought to my sister was in the rockabilly scene, right? Even she was younger than me. She was in the rockabilly scene. So then she introduced me to the rockabilly scene. So we would go to shows. I still go to them. We go to shows and all that stuff. And then she started doing my hair and my makeup. And she started putting on eyelashes on me. And my little sister, right?
Yeah.
So then I just started getting addicted to it. And then little by little, the little business, Ana, I started interpreting, okay, let's bring that retro into my hair and makeup. And when I started doing it, people started booking because people just automatically saw that it was different. Nobody was advertising it at the time. Yeah.
Now, how many sisters do you have?
One.
Only one
sister.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about your family. I actually don't know a lot about them.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I have one sister. She's younger than me. But she already has, like, her family. She has a baby girl, my niece, Aubrey. Aubrey Rose, love her to death. She's like my own little one, too.
Yes. I love being an aunt.
Yes. Yes. I don't know if I have any of my own, but
yeah.
I just got engaged, but still.
Yeah, okay.
But still. But my niece, oh my gosh, she's like my life. So she has her family, her husband. My parents, well, they're not together anymore. They divorced a couple years back. But my dad, he has his family, and then my mom has her family. Okay. So it's kind of like a big family, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
So yeah.
Cool. Where did you guys grow up?
Where did we grow up? I actually grew up in Orange County. I went to Saddleback High School.
Shout out to Saddleback.
I graduated from their business academy. What? This is something that people don't know. I literally went to high school at the same time I went to college.
What?
Yeah, I was in a special program. Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me about that, because I didn't even know you could do that.
So Saddleback High School, I for what I understand is they still actually have that program.
Yeah.
But it's called the Academy of Business and Technology, right? And they allow you to actually hop on board. I think it's 11th grade, 11th and 12th.
Okay.
So they show you from marketing to speaking in front of the camera to, economics. They show you presentation. I mean, it's top business, right? And at that time, I didn't think all that I would learn would be outside in the real world,
Wow.
And I highly recommend, if you're watching and they have, like, and you're in high school, if they have special programs like that, do them. I mean, I focused on that so much, and I got college credit. So it was very amazing, and it taught me how to be able to speak to people.
That's amazing. That is so cool. I didn't even know that was possible. How come I didn't go to that school?
So I went to Saddleback. I went to McFadden Junior High School and Jefferson Elementary.
Oh my God. Do you think that's where you first started getting your attraction to being a business or an entrepreneur?
Yes, high school, definitely. It was probably in the 10th grade I really started drawing. That's when it started first, because I actually got scholarships for being a painter. Wow. So I actually draw and I paint.
So you're just artistic all
I was
around.
artistic to begin with, and the business just kind of got involved.
Took off from there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay, so, I mean, talking back about you starting off your business and everything, how did you, what were the first steps that you had to take in order for you to get it up and running? I know you said you started with your family, but when you were starting to do it, legit,
This is interesting. I never had, oh, wow, you're good. You are good. I like this. Okay. So, first thing I did back in MySpace, I would hit up photographers. And there is one photographer that I'm going to use this as an example. I love you to death. But it was funny because I'm not going to say it right now. I'll say it after. But the story was that I contacted him through via MySpace. He doesn't remember this. And I was typing to him and whenever you need somebody to, work. At that time I was new. I was willing to work for free. I just needed, credit. I needed credit for the pictures, to advertise, but then people wouldn't see the professional pictures, right? And he totally dissed me, and he was, but not in a bad way. Okay. Now that I know him, not in a bad way, but back then I was heartbroken. I was like, oh my God, seeing his work was wow,
Yeah.
And he just pretty much said he had somebody else. That he was, I can understand.
Okay,
sometimes photographers have their own special people.
Right,
so he had his own special people. Well, now I work with him, and I'm his main one. And I've been his main one for a couple of years now.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And he contacted me, and he never remembered that I had contacted him, and I'll never forget. Yeah.
Does he know now?
He knows now.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's Jason Retro Dolls, but he's awesome.
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah, I think I've seen his work before. He is
check
actually
him out.
really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, he's amazing.
And he's amazing at his work. So, and now I'm one of his main ones.
Wow, you're living the dream, girl. I mean, you've accomplished so many things. I've seen you do. I mean, right now, you're working on a cosmetic line?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's, well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But I have some more questions first.
Yeah.
Because I know that you have gone through, you have gone through some difficult times. And, I've been following you on social media for a long time. So for other people who don't know, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'll always remember that, number one, I had somebody that passed away. It was an ex-boyfriend that passed away. It was just, it was a boyfriend at the time, and it was very traumatizing for me, especially being, a business owner. At that day that he actually passed away, I was auditioning for a talk show. So, and I ended up going through the audition. We talked on the phone, see you later, went home, got ready. I was waiting for him to pick me up, and he got in a car accident. From that day forward, my life literally just changed. Literally, it was a time in my life that was so traumatizing for me that I kind of rediscovered myself later.
Okay.
At that moment, it's I shut myself out, but I still threw myself in work. And a lot of people didn't understand that. They didn't understand, how are you here? Right after, I believe, his funeral, I was back working. And it was my only way, not to forget him, of course, but to keep myself busy not to remember.
Oh, wow.
You know, and a lot of people didn't understand that. But what I do remember is you were one of the first ones that I think I was judging a pinup contest, and I walked in, and nobody had ever told me anything. This is my first time as like I had to go judge. So I saw people, right? And you came up to me and you hugged me.
I don't remember this.
That?
No.
Yeah. And I'll always remember that. You came up to me and you hugged me and you said, "I'm sorry for what happened."
Oh, I'm going to cry right now. I don't remember.
I remember that. I remember you came up to me and that always stayed in my mind.
Oh.
That always stayed in my mind. And I was just like, wow. And I remember I said, well, you know, what could you say? You know?
Yeah.
And I remember I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
You know, I judged and stuff. And I don't know how I was still there. But I remember you were the first one that has ever even directed me in anything. And I was so scared to go there because being in the social media light, like a lot of people know your life. So I was afraid for people to say, you know, anything to me, and I was going to start crying.
Like me right now.
Stop. But, you know,
you're not even crying. I'm losing it over here.
But it's just how you can impact, you know, somebody else's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just in general, I'll never forget that, you know?
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. Honestly, because, wow, like, I'm having a moment right now.
But it was just, like, in general, just that time of my life was so dark.
Yeah.
That I guess I share that experience because being a business owner, there is no time to be dark. You know what I mean? Because business still moves on.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel even though I was working, I wasn't really focused on what I was doing. I was just more throwing myself at work so I wouldn't think, you know?
Yeah.
And meanwhile that was happening, like kind of classic glamour dolls, even though it was still there, it sort of kind of drifted. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That was one of the darkest times that you've ever gone through. What is it that, or who is it that encouraged you to keep going? Like, how did you, I mean, that's such I could not do something like that. I mean, you saw me lose myself right now, you know, and hearing you say what you went through and everything. So how did you continue on? What motivated you? Like, what made you get out of bed in the morning?
Wow.
What made you get out of bed? Like, that's hard.
What made me get out of bed was my sister. My sister was always up on me, like literally telling me, get up. She was like that hard love. She still is. But she was always like, get up. What are you waiting for? Blah, blah, blah. You know? And it was one of those that just made me think. And it's like, okay, you know? At that moment.
Yeah.
My mom was, gosh, if it wasn't for her saving me. Gosh, if it wasn't for her saving me.
Yeah.
Saving me at the times that I needed to be saved. Like, literally, I don't know what I would have done, literally, to myself. Because it was that dark, you know? Something that I shared very personal with you is that things that I don't even mention is I was suicidal when everything happened. And I only say it, I'm not embarrassed to say it.
No.
I say it because there's probably a lot of people out there that have gone through something similar, whether it's a relative or whether it's a husband, whether it's you know, and there's other people that go through it, you know? And sometimes you need to hear a story that, you know, I hate to use the term because every time people would tell me life goes on, you don't want to hear that at that moment. Life goes on.
Yeah.
It's like, do I need to hear that?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's going through something, just don't say nothing at all. Just like you did.
Yeah.
Where you just said, I'm sorry. That's it, you know? But in general, my mom, and at that time, because I told you that I had moved, before that, when everything had barely just happened, my friends at that moment, my friends were there for me. I had a group of friends that just never left my side, literally from the funeral to everything, and they just let me cry, you know?
Yeah, so you gave yourself like the time to go through it and get past it and move on.
Yeah.
When did you start feeling like you were able to kind of get back into like the groove of things and really feel Like, do you still feel like you're healing from it, or have you?
Yeah. 4 years later now, I feel now that I'm getting in the groove of things.
Wow.
I don't think you ever, when you lose somebody so traumatic like that, you don't ever just forget. You don't ever just stop grieving. Yeah. I get my moments still, and I am newly engaged, and I love my fiance, what I mean?
I know, and congratulations, by the way. I saw that. Awesome. I was so happy for you.
That was just like, wow, I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know about him. So, how did you guys meet?
We met on radio. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So I do radio too. I'm a radio host.
Yeah, that's right. I'm telling you guys, she does so much. Yeah.
And he actually ended up bringing we were interviewing his sister at the time. His sister's an actress, Liana Mendoza. You guys check her out. Ooh. And she brought him. And I was there on set, we talked maybe, it was a funny conversation. It was about like, because when you have the headset, you hear noises. So he said something really funny that at that moment I was like, huh? But I didn't think it was something about like when you hear noises. It was weird. But if you know him, you understand.
Okay.
And then later on, the next day, his sister DM'd me through Instagram and was like, my brother thought you were cute. He wants to take you out.
Ooh, wow. So how long have you guys been together now?
It's going to be 2 years.
Wow. Yeah, and newly engaged. Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. A couple months, yeah.
Yeah. I know. I saw you just posted it. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's so good. I mean, I was so happy for you. I'm still happy for you.
And he's also an actor.
He's
an actor, yes.
What?
I'm very proud of him. He's been like working nonstop recently. He came out on The SWAT. He came out on American Horror Story.
Wow.
He's come out. He's working on something really top secret right now that I can't say.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Okay. Can't talk about it. Speaking of top secret stuff, let's talk about your cosmetic line. I know you're working on it with your sister, but tell us more about it because I want to know.
Okay, so
and I know they want to know.
So we're going to do this big, we're going to do a soft launch, right? And the soft launch, we're going to go ahead and unveil the cosmetics. It's going to be open to public. It's going to be open to family and friends, press, buyers, whoever wants to go.
Okay.
But we're unveiling it there. So all I want to say, it's called Glama Queens. Okay. Glama, Glama Queens.
Okay.
Makes you feel like royalty. But the Glama was a little bit, short, trendy, a little bit of flavor in it, And let me just tell you, this is like one hint that when you're putting on our cosmetics, you're gonna feel like what you're putting on. Just remember that.
Okay.
You're gonna feel it.
Do we know yet? Are you gonna share with us yet what like you're gonna have in your line?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
So everything. Lipsticks, foundation, everything.
Everything.
Ooh, that's exciting. And then, so I know you and your sister are doing that. Are you guys working on anything else besides that, or is that all for right now?
We're working on that for right now.
Okay.
I personally, on the side, I'm writing because I want to write a book. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
I want to write a book, so that's something like top secret that I've just been writing.
You guys got the inside scoop.
I've just been writing slowly. So that's something that maybe within the next few years, maybe.
That's awesome.
Depends.
That's awesome. It actually kind of leads me to my next question. Are there any other goals that you have that you haven't yet accomplished that you want to do? I mean, besides this book, which I didn't know.
Wow. Okay, well, I would love to do this book, obviously. I would love to do a hair book, a how-to hair book.
Oh, cool. I'm going to buy it. For sure. I want a copy.
The cosmetics, I just want to be able to just, build my empire within the cosmetics and, be among those, I look at it and it's like something that I have a story.
Okay.
We were in our little, break. Yeah. We kind of told each other about how when I gave you that interview. Oh, remember?
Yes,
you had said when I gave you that interview, I never gave you anything negative.
Oh, yes. Yes, okay, so, so a couple years ago, about 4 years ago, I interviewed on your show, your radio show, and I was telling you how I wanted to do hair and what my dreams were, and I remember that you didn't feel threatened or because I want to do hair, like you do hair and makeup. You're big in the industry, you know, and what you do. And instead of telling me or feeling like you didn't want to share your secrets with me, you gave me advice. And you told me, like, you were very supportive and you were very, like, you need to, you know, there's going to be people who are going to be telling you that you can't do it. That you can't do it.
And was there?
Yeah. Yeah. And you were like, but you just got to keep going. Mm-hmm. You just got to keep going. You can't listen to that. And I was like, wow.
And she told me this over break. So
yeah, that
kind of, like, touched me and I wanted to cry. It's my turn now. Because sometimes, like, kind of like how you said, you don't know who you're affecting when you're saying that. That's really me. That is really me, how I am. And just like you know, there's people that even message me on Instagram and random people or even on Facebook, and they tell me, like, their goals. Like, where do you think I should start? You know? And I actually do take the time and write back to them, you know? And I think that's what makes me different. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But going back to that story, one time somebody actually did that to me and, like, literally put me down. And it was so, like, I'll always remember that, you know. And it was somebody very big in the cosmetic industry that they are now. And, you know, without mentioning any names, I just remember, you know, sitting down with them years ago. I was young. Okay. And seeing this person that I admired so much, you know, seeing this person, like, wow, like, I admired them from their business to what they had. And I thought, okay, we were probably perhaps going to work together. Yeah. But it ended up being something else. And also telling me, like, if you want to do a cosmetic line, it's never going to happen for you. You know, you're never going to make it big. Yeah. And I just remember it was like a stab in the heart. Dang. And I remember I was just like, okay. And I was young. So when you're young, those words do affect you, yes, you know? So years later went by and I always had those, like, I could never do it. Like, I was just so afraid. Wow. And if it wasn't for my sister, that literally, and somebody else, that he'd rather be silent. Okay. Like a silent partner. If it wouldn't be for those two people that literally just said, what are you waiting for? You know, this is the time now. Mm-hmm. You're doing this, you're doing that. It's the time, Anna. And I'm just like, okay. And sometimes you're afraid of rejection. Sometimes you're afraid of, like, those words still cross my mind.
They resonate in your head.
Yeah. Like, And I'll always remember those words from that person. And I promise myself that I will never do that to somebody. Ever.
Wow. And you ring true to that because, I mean, I've seen it. I know you do a lot of charity work as well. Yes. Yeah, you do a lot of that. And you're always supporting your community. You're always giving back. Like, I see it. I've always seen that throughout the whole time that I've known you. And I've seen you. Yeah. And you love it. I see that.
I love giving back. I really do, especially, like, just, for example, the one time we did City of Hope, you know, and it was for cancer patients. Mm-hmm. And just literally, like, making them up. I remember one time I was, you know, doing hair and makeup. And then one girl just literally, right before, like, I went to the next girl. You know how you switch? Yeah. And then she's like, oh, my God, I know who you are. Oh, my God. And then I just looked at her and go, what happened? She started crying, you know? And I remember I, like, gave her a hug. And I go, why are you crying? And she was, because I know you. I follow you. And I can't believe you're going to sit down and do my hair and makeup. Cool. Like, you don't understand how this makes me feel. And I just remember I gave her a big hug. It's okay. It's okay. I'll make you look beautiful, you know? And I just remember that feeling that it brought me. And it was like, wow, like, sometimes you don't realize, you just go do what you go do. And you don't realize how many people you impact or how your words impact or how you do hair and makeup impacts somebody, you know? And it's like, now having the time of being 23 years in the beauty industry, it's like, now you take the time and you realize it. And it's like, wow, I sit down now and it's like, I sit down with my sister a lot. And I have conversations with her. And we sit down and we're like, man, like, is this really happening? Like, things are unfolding now. And I'm very grateful, just grateful, you know, to everybody that's just so supportive.
Yeah. Do you have, like, a routine or like a morning routine or something that keeps you kind of focused, you know? Because you've gone through some stuff and, you know, give us some tips.
Honestly, the real Anna stays in bed for like 30 minutes after she wakes up. That's the truth. I stay there and I'm just like, don't want to wake up. I look at my phone and then Like, I gotta remember to answer, but I'll go on social media. But like, my body's still resting, right? Then after I get up, yes, I'll get up, and breakfast is really big for me now. Okay. Like, before it wasn't, but as you get older, you need to take care of yourself. Yeah. But like, before it was always like, okay, I'll go get this, I'll go get that, and now it's like, I'll make myself like healthy breakfast and just making sure I get that. Also, listening to positive, maybe YouTube videos. Adam got me into them. My fiance got me into listening to videos. So sometimes I'll pop one on, and it's just to encourage you in the day, because your first thoughts in the morning are what's going to take over the whole day. Yeah. And that's really important, especially being in the business, any type of business, or just to have a good day. Yeah. You got to remind yourself, because it's so easy just to say, oh, today's horrible. Oh, you don't feel good. And then your whole day's going to suck. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Is your family like that too? Or do you think that, or is that something that just you've kind of taken on your own because of like your influence from your boyfriend? Well, Adam got me into it first. Yeah. Now my family's very encouraging. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I think in the beginning, because I had a full-time for a while. Now, I have 8 years that I'm actually just doing hair and makeup and doing my own thing, right? Yeah. But for a while, I had a full-time, which is I was a supervisor for an airport. A supervisor for the arrival level, yeah. Uh-huh. And I remember when I quit that, it was for the county. My mom was the biggest one that was like, what did you do? And at that moment, when your mom says it, ooh. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, my God, I messed up. Yeah. And I mean, I'll admit it, for the first year, I thought I messed up quitting. And then now, 8 years later, I don't look back. I'm blessed. Okay. Really blessed. Okay. Let's bring it back to 8 years ago, because I want to know, how did you even know that was the right decision you had to make? I didn't. At that moment, I remember sitting in my office. I had my own office, right? Uh-huh. Okay. I had my own office. Okay. She is the boss lady. Yeah. And I remember I was like, okay, like, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with my life. I'm not, a lot of people go into just work and they're not happy, And I remember being there, and I was like, I'm just, what do I do? Like, I don't have children at that moment. I don't have children. I wasn't married. I didn't have anyone in my life at that moment, and I just wanted to just travel. That's the first thing that came to my mind. So I quit. No kidding, okay? 1 week after I quit, not knowing what I was going to do. I mean, I took my retirement, but still, but still, like, not knowing what was going to happen, I got a call from Gina from Pinups for Vets, and it was a nonprofit organization. Yeah. And she said that her makeup and hair artist, I never knew her. We had seen each other through Facebook. Social media is big, guys, if you're in business. Yeah. And she said, I always see you posting hair and makeup stuff. My hair and makeup canceled. I need somebody in 3 days, and we need to go here. So then I didn't know who she was, even though I saw her post. But social media can be weird. Yeah. So I asked her if I can take somebody, right? Because it was going to be like a 3-day shoot or a 4-day shoot up in the mountains. So of course you have to be like, prepared. Yeah. So just in case, yeah, I'm like, I don't know who she is. Yeah. And then, safe. And safe. That was my word. You have to be safe. Yeah. So I took my sister. But no, Gina was Gina. And like from there on, we were friends like 11 years, I think. Yeah, she was like my longest relationship. I always laugh at her. I always laugh at her. She's like my longest relationship ever. But since then I've done her calendar. Like literally, it's pinupsforvets.com, and I've done her calendar every year. Wow. So yeah, and I just ended up taking that jump. Yeah. And from there on, just traveling. And then a couple years later, I ended up working for a company called I know what you're going to say. I'm an educator for beauty and pinup. So it's a hair care line. Uh-huh. And that, oh my God, that one just changed my life. Like literally just being able to travel around the world. And number one, I did all the hair shows. So it's teaching on stages, educating to thousands, That's cool. And now, visiting salons and teaching, at salons and at stores, how to use the products and stuff. And, it's it just brings something to me. It's something different.
Yeah.
Than just, that's why I love my life. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I don't get bored.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, right? When you're doing the same thing every day, it can become routine. So is that what keeps you going and motivated to keep doing? Because, I mean, being an entrepreneur is hard, right? I mean, how do you self-motivate yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do that?
Well, you have to take time for yourself, because if you don't take time for yourself to pamper yourself and to really just have that time to meditate and to be like, okay, I got this today. I got this, you know? If you don't give yourself that time, it's just going to fly by. Yeah. And then you're going to end up working one thing after another thing after another thing. And I learned that in my younger years. I was always boom, 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 boom. Like I would have like 7 weddings in one day. Wow. And then go to sleep, and then the next day, 5 weddings. And now I choose. Now I choose, because I realize that you have to take care of yourself and prepare yourself.
Yes, that's right. That's right. All right. So going back to, I mean, being young, and anybody who is aspiring to be a business owner. But first off, what would you say, or what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self, or to your 14-year-old self, even? Because I mean, at 16, you were already starting business, so I got to go back with you.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. What I would tell her would be that be prepared that your life was going to be a roller coaster, but that everything was going to be okay, and not to give up, that not to focus on the negative stuff that people say. You do what you want to do, and in business, you're going to be successful, and it's about you and the world, and going where you want to go. That's what I would tell my 14-year-old self. Awesome. And what about for anybody who wants to be like you, who's inspired by you? I mean, I'm sure people are inspired by you now. Like, for anybody who wants to pursue their own dreams, what advice would you give them? It's a really good question, because a lot of the times I look on social media, or sometimes people like talk to me and they say, I wish I could do hair and makeup full time, but I can't. My advice to you guys would be, it's so important to network. You have to network with other people to get other jobs. If you don't like to network, then you're just going to stay where you're at, To be successful, there's always a team behind you. Even though you see me up front, there's a team behind me, and you can't do it without that team. And that's one of the reasons that I always give credit. Like when I post something up, I always give credit, But don't give up, If this is something you really want to do, it was tough for me the first year. Hey, it was probably tough for me the second year. Now, my 7th, it was 2 years. Okay, my 6th year, it blossomed. And now I can't even keep up with my own schedule. Nice. And that is how I make a living, doing hair and makeup.
Awesome. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for next time's episode. And until then, live your life on the edge.
Thank you for having me.
Yay! Awesome.
Hey guys, this is Ana Vergara. You just saw my interview. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys, TNE Magazine, TNE Podcast, for having me. You guys check out my business, Glamour Queens Cosmetics and Classic Glamour Dolls.
That's great. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to use promo code Edith18. Stay tuned for next time's episode. Thanks for watching. Bye!